like I was saying, Cairo is, how do you, uh, okay, how do you like unpin that? Anyway, so Cairo is a really big.
No, just go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry. If you need anything to.
so Cairo is a really big city. Like I was saying, 25 million rides are estimated to be done every day, and that qualifies Egypt to be Cairo to be one of the top 10, if not top 5 cities in the world in terms of number of trips that are being made every single day. And Cairo is a city that has multiple modes of transport, from subway to city buses to what you would call taxis or boda bodas, or what we call here microbuses, to even ride-hailing apps. And Cairo was the first city in the world where Uber have launched their scheduled bus service with taxis here in Cairo. So it is one big city that has multiple modes. And the issue is that there has been, with these all these entire modes, which you categorize into two groups, basically a group that has low cost of using but comes with low convenience and service quality, and another group that comes with a pricing that is too high for the common Egyptian but comes with a little bit higher quality of service, that have created a stigma against public transport. And at Mwasalat Misr, we aim at filling this gap by providing a premium service, a premium scheduled public transport service that is targeted price-wise to the middle class, so that majority of Egyptians can use it. And Mwasalat Misr is the first international investment in the field of public transport in Egypt. We represent an Emirati group called ENG, and we represent them in Egypt. So we started operations in 2018. A lot of achievements have been done since then. I'll just run through them. First of all, we were the first private operator to launch city buses that are wheelchair accessible, have onboard fare collection with passenger information, and also became the first Egyptian operator to be affiliated with UITP. We also successfully launched Mwasalat, which is a closed loop NFC onboard payment card. It's compatible with the subway network for interoperability. It has not been done yet, but it is ready for that. And one of the things that we have done to adopt for the local context is that we have integrated with a very unique business model of companies that have points of sale that are placed at kiosks and supermarkets, where you could top up your cards or do cash-based, bank-based payments through the merchant sitting in the store. So instead of investing in TVMs and building our own infrastructure, we leveraged the existing infrastructure to allow users to be able to top up their cards. So every single stop on the network has at least 3 points of sale around them where you could top up your card. We've also introduced something that is quite unique to the African context, is that physical bus stops in Cairo are quite rare. And we've adopted what we call a virtual bus stop. These virtual bus stops we'll talk about them in extensiveness later on, but they have enabled us to understand where the people wait to use public transport. And this has enabled us to collect the data at the collective level and the anonymized individual level to have better understanding of transport demand data. We were also successful to be the first operator in Cairo to launch a fully electric bus in a consortium of 12 companies specialized to submit their proposals and their sustainable mobility solutions to new cities that we'll get to at the end of the presentation. And since this has been extensively brought on in the previous two presentations, just to have a different take on what the fill and go dilemma means for public transport. So These pictures are nowhere near unfamiliar. The same picture has been taken in Kampala because we've been visiting it earlier this year. It is the same pretty much everywhere. And since these modes of transport operate on a fill and go basis, what they create is something that is quite unique for cities. Most main stations are located at city centers. So let's say someone, the daily commute is from home to school, and there is a bus line that goes through point A to point B and passes very close to their home. The logical thing to do is to get out of the home and take a bus directly to the school. What happens in reality, because the buses work on fill and go, it is almost impossible to be able to catch such a microbus or a minibus from that point. You need to take it from the very beginning. So what happens is that other trip with a different mode is done to the main station. You have to wait there and then take the bus from the very beginning at the station, and your trip will go up from anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes, because if you get to the bus stop at a stage where you're the last one going in, it will just move right away. However, if you are unlucky and you're the first one to sit in, you will have to be there up until everybody gets on bus. And this is fundamental to the traffic congestion issue in major cities such as Cairo, because most main stations are actually located at a central city district that spirals out, because most African cities are radial in nature. So we, with use of solutions such as LIT Control and LIT Monitor, have been able to introduce something that is super innovative for the Egyptian culture, which is timetables. And when we introduce timetables, like having a scheduled service and focusing as an operator on scheduling and posting those schedules on social media for the public to use, surprisingly, we found out that people are still using the bus from the very first stop. This is actual data from our fare collection systems, and we can see that the phantom trips, the trips that take place to the very beginning of the line, are still happening. So it is not just like timetables that are being introduced and people relying on the service based on a schedule. This is apparently not enough. So when we embark upon AI-powered ETA provided by LIT Solutions that is used based on open APIs, we are able to transform this into a schedule adherence service to improve the schedule, the accuracy of our schedules, that would enable us to make schedules that are flexible enough to adopt to the new things happening in Cairo traffic-wise. So I'd like to highlight how this affected our operations from three different angles. The first angle is the operator angle. So as an operator, we are being able to monitor historically and in real time what's going on in the street, to be able to maintain good operations and good schedule adherence and good headway adherence. And we've also done that. We've populated the data through open APIs to Google Maps, and we were successful to be the first operator in the Middle East and Africa to integrate with Google Maps in real time, and that happened in 2018. But we often got feedback from our users that Google Maps is not really usable, because fundamentally Google Maps would share 3 pieces of information with the user on their app, because it is such a global thing that is not adapted to the local context. It will show you what was the scheduled time, and if there is a difference, it would show you how much it's delayed or how much it's early, and put a strike through this text, put how early or late the bus is, and then display when the bus is coming. So it was super confusing to our users. So what LIT has enabled us is to have different onboard devices or onboard units with different AFCs. And because LIT solutions are hardware agnostic, they are collecting this data, and people sitting in the operation control center don't even have to know which OBU is in which bus. Everything gets collected into LIT solution, and then it's disseminated to multiple channels. So what we've decided to do is that we need to add multiple channels to integrate the omni-channel collected data and disseminate it in an omni-channel manner as well. So we're revamping our app as we speak, and we have a new app that simply tells the user when the bus is coming to your nearest stop, and it's a single button app where you just click your location and it will show you when the bus is coming, as well as Google Maps and even chatbots. Because LIT solutions are built on open APIs, we have been able to integrate real-time ETA into channels such as WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. So no matter what the platform that the user is comfortable with using, we're in the business of getting people on the bus with their most comfortable platform. And we decided to invest in that area rather than investing in physical infrastructure of having physical bus stops, physical screens. We're just getting the information into the people's hands while they stay at home, while they stay at work, and they know the piece of information from their place of comfort without having the need to go physically on the street, look at the screen, and wait for the bus. And the third and most important part is how valuable this data is to uh, governmental stakeholders, basically, be it ministries, be it municipalities, be it public transport regulators. We are presenting the people, the regulatory authorities that we're working with single page dashboards from LIT that would enable the key stakeholder to monitor what's going on, what is the status of public transport today, and what's happening in the city in real time with absolute reliability and accountability from the operator side. And this was surprisingly valuable to surprising to us, that how valuable this data is to stakeholders. So this has helped us into transformation from a public transport operator into a real mobility platform for the African context. Mwasalat Misr today is not just an operating company. We have an in-house tech solution company that is developing our own AFC that is going to be used across our fleet. We have launched a maintenance service company that would be able to do that. And since we're very tech oriented, we have adopted an advertising agency under the group that is licensed to use the assets, whether technological, non-tangible assets, or the actual fleet, to use it as a generative revenue stream. And the network that we're running today, that is connected across the entirety of Greater Cairo, connecting the Cairo, has enabled us to gain the trust of the government to be able to launch 3 strategic contracts that are long-term. And for the first time in Egypt, the contracts for public transport operations are not concession-based, but rather gross contracts and gross cost contracts and net cost contracts that are long-term and sustainable, and are not built on the competition for the customer, but are built on the competition for the best public transport scheduled service. So now what we have done is that we have 3 contracts with the Egyptian government, and these contracts, regardless of their business model, we're developing a seamless experience to our users. Our users are able to use the same e-payment solution across the entire network. They are able to plan their trip across the entire network, and they gain the same customer experience across the entire network, regardless of where the contract is coming and what the contractual format is. And this has enabled us to, again, gain the government's trust to be able to, as a company, collaborate and launch a joint venture with the Egyptian government to have a specific company that from the very beginning will be launching the public transport service within the new administrative capital. Egypt has a very ambitious project of constructing a new administrative capital east to the old city of Cairo that is pretty much as big as Singapore, and has a monorail system and an LRT system coming in. And we're part of this, and we've launched a long-term contract where we are exclusively operating and advising on the regulation of the operations in the new capital. Another thing is that we have strong partnerships with the Egyptian government and the Ministry of Transport to be the operating arm for the BRT project that is going on right now and being in the construction phase for the ring road. And we're going to be operating the ring road BRT in a single 106-kilometer corridor. And lastly, we're partnering with one of the Egyptian companies that have very strong presence in Africa. And we're currently exploring how we could bring about the experiences that we've gained in an African context city that is as big as Greater Cairo into other cities such as Kampala or Accra. In short, Mwasalat Misr have grown from a single operator into an operator into a mobility platform that is capable of having multiple operating and verticals depending on different modes of transport that are based on a single payment management and fare collection solution, all into a single app with cross-mode companies that are serving these entire verticals, enabling us as Mwasalat Misr to transform from an operator into an ecosystem. That was it. Thank you very much.